Welcome to episode 5 of A Seat With Sabertini. And so we have an amazing guest on this episode. Like, when I say amazing, amazing. I was so happy to have him. It was just like, I was so blessed when he was like willing to come on the show. And so, or the podcast, whatever you like to call it. But we had some very interesting mishaps. And the crazy part about it was that the name of this episode is Perseverance and Ego. And the fact that we had to persevere to get through this episode was chaotic. So it's going to be a little different than my normal episodes that you've watched. It is a little longer, but it's because it's so good. It's so good. So much like meat in this episode. And I don't know if you know me, I always say it ain't a meal without meat, but it was a very good episode. So I'm so excited to show y'all. I'm so excited for y'all to listen to it. If you're on like any of my streaming platforms that I'm on, I'm so excited for you to listen to it because he is dropping some gems. Number one. Number two is I was like a little upset that my audio went out. My audio wasn't on. And so bear with me. Okay. Like I still want you guys to get like the message and to be able to, get something out of this. So I wasn't going to hold it back from you guys, but my audio was not on. My focus was not in. So talk about perseverance. We had to do just like so much. I had some great people like that were like willing to work with me, that always work with me. One of the things was we did the podcast on a day that we normally don't do the podcast on, so we didn't have the same setup or the same help that we had before. So it's me and my intern producer. And the one thing about us is we write the cards. We do the cue cards. We do the questions. We do not do the technology. So the fact that the technology was kicking our butt and our guest, he was so patient. Like when I say so patient, he was so patient. Like chill, just like chilling, like, nah, take your time. Mind you, me and my intern producer, we were struggling with that technology, with the cameras, with the angle, with everything. We're just struggling. So some of it is clipped out, but some of it is left in because this is the real world. This is how things really go. And people need to see like it don't always be perfect. When I say I was like pressed the next day that I realized my audio wasn't working, it was a whole thing. I was just like, what? Like, it's so much noise in the background. One mic is on, one mic is not. You can actually see these things in the video. But the episode's about perseverance and also ego. And I'm not going to let my ego let me not put this episode out because our guest has so many good things to say, so much knowledge that he spilled. Like, it was just like so much to take in. So I don't want to keep this from you. I do hope that you guys get something good from this. And also, I just want to thank y'all for bearing with us. This is our first season of A Seat With Sabertini, and we are pushing through regardless. We are not letting nothing stop us. And one thing about perseverance is that the enemy will try to attack you when you are doing something right. So I hope y'all enjoy this. I hope y'all get something out of it. Please leave a comment and let us know that, the audio did throw you off, but we had somebody fix the audio. Welcome back to A Seat With Sabertini. We have a guest, our first guest on the couch. And since we hate normal introductions, we hate regular introductions, we are going to do a little questionnaire, okay? So, we're going to say some facts. We're going to say some facts, and you're going to say yes or no. But pretty much the facts are all yes. But, anyway, we just want to see if we know you just a little bit. Okay. Just a little bit, okay? So, man of God.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Father of 2.
Correct.
Okay. 2014 NFL draft pick?
Yes.
Okay. Second to last NFL draft pick at Concordia, St. Paul?
Second to last? No, I'm the first ever.
First ever?
Yeah, first
yes,
ever.
Okay. Correct me. Okay. Let's get our facts straight. Correct me. Okay. And then, Iron Man enthusiast?
I love Iron Man. That's my job. I'm a Black Panther.
Okay. We got something. So, does it look like you know you a little bit?
Oh, yeah. That was pretty spot on right there.
A little bit. Okay. What did I miss out of the things I asked you that are very important to you?
Well, I'm an online men's health and fitness coach. I try to get men over 30 more awareness of their health, right? Both spiritually, mentally, physically, especially former players that retire from the game who lack structure, because that's what we miss after we retire. So that's very important to me to pay it forward, try to help guys live a longer, happy and healthy life.
Specifically geared towards men, though.
Yes.
When you are approaching women clients, do you still take them?
I do, but they have to be serious. I mean, I love women, I love y'all, but you know, it gets a lot to train women. I have trained women, but it gets to be a little overwhelming.
Okay. Do you think men are more dedicated than women when it comes to fitness?
No, I've actually seen it on both ends. It's just, see, it's two ways people have motivation. Some people have extrinsic motivation, which means they work out. I mean, they try to work out, to try to, let's say, fit in a bathing suit for their birthday or try to get ready for a vacation. That's extrinsic, right? You get your motivation.
I feel attacked, but okay.
That's all right. Intrinsic, which is how I operate, right? Guys want to, probably get off blood pressure medication, lose body fat to, live longer, to play with their kids or grandkids, something like that. So their motivation for wanting to work out comes internally, trying to get themselves healthy internally. So,
do you think more men carry that quality than women?
Yeah, from the consultations and the appointments that I meet with people is when I have consultations with women, it's more, I'm trying to get a dump truck or I'm trying to, it's something like that.
Okay. Okay, so today's topic is perseverance and ego. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to give the definition of perseverance and ego, and then I want to hear your idea of when you first hear perseverance and ego. Yep. So it says persistent in doing something, which is perseverance, persistent in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. Mm-hmm. And then ego says a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. Yep. So now, when you think of perseverance, in your short term of how to describe perseverance, what does that look like?
So it actually relates to a situation I went through in college. It was probably 2000. It was from October 2010 to around, I want to say January 2012. I had gotten into some trouble, unfortunately, legal trouble, doing stuff that I wasn't supposed to be doing, and it eventually got me kicked out of college. So what happened was I had to still attend school, but I'm kicked out of college, so I had to attend an online school somewhere else. Plus, I had to work 2 jobs in Minnesota to support at the time, my only daughter. So what I had to do was, and this perseverance, this was probably one of the hardest times of my life. So I would have to, since I wasn't allowed to be on campus, I would have to take the megabus. I don't know if you remember the megabus, but I would have to take the megabus from from Minnesota to Chicago, Monday through Friday, do my online classes, then hop back on the megabus to Minnesota Friday through Sunday so I can work in the clubs. I did, event, I was club security and I did other jobs, to make money and stuff like that. So I had to do that for an entire year. So that was and those bus rides were 9 hours long. So yeah, it was pretty tough. I didn't know how I was gonna get through it, but perseverance where I had to, because I didn't want to eventually. Well, I didn't want to become a statistic. I wanted to become a college dropout. So I said, let me just get through this, weather the storm. In order to get through the storm, you gotta be willing to dance in the rain. So I'm just let me get through this. I'll be fine. I'll probably, and I came out. Was able to get back into my college Concordia, so that took a lot of that whole time frame, took a lot of perseverance. So
I actually never knew that, full story. I do remember you telling me that you got into some legal stuff, but I don't remember I don't know. Maybe we just never talked about it, but the actual story.
It was stupid. Yeah, something that I take full responsibility that it was my fault that it even happened. So I was young, 20 years old, young and dumb.
Okay, so since we already know that, of your history and of your success and your career and things of that nature, we'll wind it back to being able to relate the getting back into your school, getting back into your school, then getting drafted.
As far as what?
As far as how did that work?
So I went to Concordia St. Paul, and then when that situation happened, I got kicked out. So I had to take online classes at this college called Western Oklahoma. It was all online classes. Thank God, one of my coaches at the time got me signed up. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have graduated. So I had to do that for an entire year, get my credits up, and then once I did that, then they allowed me to readmit back into Concordia. So yeah, that was when I get readmitted. Yeah, January 2012. Yeah.
So because the thing about it is being like kicked out of your university and then still making the NFL, like that's like an anomaly. Like that's like like especially from the path that you were on to the path that you were able to take. Like some people that have like no hiccups, like good grades, like good status, like everything stats in their like field, and still don't make it to. You know?
Yeah, I mean, when I sit back and think about it, it's truly a great experience to be a part of. Like I said, I was first in my school in conference history, drafted, but like I said, it came down to perseverance. I just wanted to make something of myself. I didn't want to return to Chicago with statistics. So, and then the funny part about it, it's a pipe dream, especially for young inner city kids to play pro. But I didn't think it was realistic coming from a private, institution like Concordia. It's like 7 different Concordias, and it's a small school nobody ever heard of. So I didn't really think it was possible until I put it on film and I showcased my skills on the field, and then scouts from all over the NFL started to come to my practices and games. I'm like, okay, maybe I can do something with this. So then that's my junior year is when it really took off.
Okay. And so what I do know about you went to Simeon High School in Chicago.
Yep.
All 4 years.
All 4 years.
The crazy part about that is when I was in like 7th, 8th grade, I wanted to go to Simeon so bad.
Yeah, we the best.
Simmer down, okay? Simmer down. It's a Mustang over here. It's so crazy actually because I went to Morgan Park and Kenwood, but we'll talk about that later. But okay, so I wanted to go to Simeon so bad. The reason why is because Simeon is a vocational high school, so you're able to take a trade while being in school.
Yep.
Did you ever take a trade while being in school?
I was carpentry major, so I took that because my dad was a carpenter and I like building stuff. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
They have those career paths for us, but it was like architectural design, welding, electricity, culinary arts. They had like a ton of stuff, so I think that was pretty cool.
I do. I was so mad when I didn't get accepted.
Wow.
I did not get accepted. My best friend, mind you, me and my best friend applied for the same high schools, and CDS was a
same
high school.
vocation,
Yeah, exactly. But Morgan Park wasn't, and I wanted to for cosmetology. She got accepted. I did not, and I was devastated. And I was just like,
is it because you didn't live in the area? Or?
Yeah, it was because I didn't live. Well, she didn't live in the area either. I think she was part of like a lottery or something that they did or something.
Probably.
So, yeah, I don't know how that works.
I originally wasn't supposed. Based off where I lived, I was supposed to end up in Calumet, but my dad said hell no. So I ain't want no Calumet. So we're gonna go to Simeon.
And then you ran track in high school as well.
Yep. So how it worked is
you thought I didn't know you a little bit.
All right, did your homework. I like it. So it was either you had 2 choices. Unless you was good at basketball, you play basketball, but they really had us either do track and field or wrestling. And I didn't want to wrestle a bunch of sweaty boys. So
okay.
Good.
And so you had to do track or to be on a football team as well, or you just started?
You didn't have to, but it was recommended for you to stay in shape. Okay. Right, so either wrestling kept you in shape or track and field kept you in shape. So I just did track and field.
Okay, so it wasn't like you was always going for football, but you just did track and field as well.
Yeah. Okay. So it was crazy. So when me and my stepmom originally went up to Simeon to get me enrolled, I kind of had promised the basketball coach, Coach Rob. He's like one of the all-time great coaches there. That I would play basketball for him, but I didn't really like basketball. Okay. I just thought it was too much finesse, so that's kind of how I got into Simeon. That I kind of promised I would play.
So you thought basketball was too much finesse?
Yeah.
But you finessed your way into the school.
Yeah. That's how it works. So when I got to Simeon, I remember I went to the back of the school, West Chatham Park, and that's where it started ever since.
Okay. So while we're on Simeon, I just want to stay here for a little bit. It's funny because my best friend who got accepted to Simeon, she went to Simeon, and so later down the line when she knew we knew each other, she was like, I actually don't wait till the stage what she said. But to double back down, what was your experience in high school? What was your social
I gotta
especially
admit,
in sports?
I didn't really have a social I can't really shout out to everybody from Simeon. Everybody's cool, from when I got that 06 class to the 2012 class. I think I was there when I was a senior. So shout out to everybody from Simeon. But I never really had friends in high school. I just had teammates who I thought was cool, but I never hung out with people from Simeon because I always had my group of friends that I grew up with in elementary school. I grew up on the low end, so I went to Doolittle, East and West on the low end. So all my friends that I grew up with from first grade through eighth, we still to this day, we still, So 30 plus year friendship. So those are the people that I hung out with.
So you was more like, you went to school, you did the schoolwork and stuff, but when you got out of school, you was with your own people.
Yeah, I was with my own people.
That's how I was in college, so I get that 100%. All my friends was somewhere else, but I just went to school and came right out.
Yep.
Well, actually, I was like that in high school too. Were your friends older than you? Because my friends in high school was older than me, so that's why I wasn't really in the mix of school. They went to my school, but they were all older, so I didn't socialize in school.
All of my friends, we graduated elementary school together. We all the same age.
They just never went to your high school.
Yeah, they all went to like somewhere on the low end, like Dunbar, or I got friends that went to Curie. Okay. One friend that went to CBS. Yeah. Crazy.
Okay. No offense to my West Siders. Okay. So, also, when it comes to like high school and just while we're here, do you have an idea, or how do you think people perceived you in high school?
I would guess I was a tall, quiet kid, and I didn't really hang out much, or I didn't even go to like school events and stuff like that. I remember homecoming dances. I probably went to one. That was my senior year. Okay. So if I had to guess how people would perceive me, just a tall, skinny, quiet kid, with an afro.
So you wasn't buff like this?
No. Okay. I was very skinny growing up.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. So people got hope. There's hope out there for you.
Yep, definitely.
There's hope. Okay. So now I can say, the girl that I went to both went to go to Simeon. She said she knew you. She was like, yeah, I know him. But I think I don't know how she said it, but she kind of was like, yeah, but he was acting funny. And in my head, I'm like, you are the coolest person I know. You're not no stuck up. You ain't no,
I don't know.
And that's why we're going to go down to ego. Because, when she said that, I was just like, And she was like, yeah, he wanted to act funny. I don't know. And I don't know if this was after, high school or anything, or I don't know if it was during high school. I don't know what season this was, but she said.
Yeah, I gotta admit, high school was a blur for me.
Okay. And if you were quiet, I think, especially being tall, I think people pay attention to people that are tall. Mm-hmm. So when you're tall, you're naturally standing out. Yeah. And then to be quiet, it could seem like you are more of funny acting versus.
Yeah, I mean, I just wasn't a part of the cool crowd. There was people in my class that were way more popular and cooler than me. So, yeah, like I said, I just stuck to myself and hung with my crowd from the low end.
Okay, so the next one is ego. Since we are talking about, people think he was funny acting,
which is crazy.
So we gave you a definition. I'll say it again of ego: a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. So. As far as ego, what's your experience?
That's something I had too. Well, I go through it all the time, but I feel like there are pockets where you need to have an ego. So, for instance, when I went to the NFL Combine, coming from Concordia St. Paul, I was probably I wasn't the only, but I was one of the few small school players there. So, how big schools and coaches perceive us as, he played at lower level competition, he's not really that good. So, we gotta go in there with a chip on our shoulder, and that's what I had to do. So that's when that ego come up, mofo, I belong here. I can compete with y'all. So I feel like ego is necessary, especially when you're in a certain field that you want to be great at. You gotta walk with your head up high and think, excuse my language, think you the shit. Yeah. No. But you also gotta back it up, right? So that's the biggest thing. If you're gonna have an ego, you gotta make sure you can display it.
Yeah. So do you feel like when you did have to, since you, like you said, you were coming from a situation where you were at a smaller school, you had to essentially prove yourself?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel like that hindered your relationship with your teammates at that time, or do you feel like it made them respect you?
No. I mean, I've seen some guys have an ego where it kind of transcends the team, so that's an issue. Okay. But I never had an ego that transcended the team, right? I always put the team first because there's no I in team. You can't be bigger than the program. So you see it a lot in the league where guys have super inflated egos to where it takes the light off the team and just shines it on them. Right. So then that's when it becomes a problem. But if you're a person that has an ego that's also keeping the focus on the team, then it's not really a problem.
Okay, I get that. So now, question for you as far as ego and teammates, because that's what we were just talking about. Have you been on a team that you felt like pretty much the dynamic you just explained, where somebody's like one person on the team ego is kind of messing with the dynamic of the flow, especially for the game too, because it's a lot of players in football.
Yeah, so it really depends on locker room. So for instance, the Patriots, they really keep an airtight ship, so they call it the Patriot way, which you can't have an ego there. Like you try to have an ego there, they're gonna get you up out of there. So that's a place where egos aren't allowed, as opposed to like when I was briefly with the Dallas Cowboys. I ain't gonna name no names, but you got guys that had egos and it shows. So that becomes a distraction in the locker room. So that's kind of like the juxtaposition of different environments that I've been in.
You know, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because we don't try to make certain things stand out. But your first year, you won with the Patriots. You won the Patriots team. Super Bowl.
Yep, 2014 Super Bowl against the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah. Like what? I remember seeing it on your Instagram.
Yep.
What is it like? What did that experience feel like? Because that's like, especially like your first year. Yeah. That's like crazy.
Yeah, that
like
that
just
whole,
to be in that experience.
Yeah, that whole entire year, I swear, from May of 2014 until when we won the Super Bowl was in February 2015. That was like the most magical period of my life. So dating back to when I got drafted, right? I graduated, I gotta get the dates right. So I graduated May 10th, I got drafted May 11th, and then May 12th, I was on a flight to New England to begin my career. And then that whole year we went, I think 12-4. Yeah, 12-4, and then we went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. So like that just felt like one big long year, right, full of stuff, right? And then to win it, it was just, I don't know, it's hard to explain winning a world championship.
That's
it's like, it's unimaginable, but.
And your first year, like that's the thing. Well, another reason why I asked that question is because when you got drafted and you realized you were getting drafted to the Patriots. Okay, number one, because I am not highly educated in football or any sport, to say the least. I mean, let's talk about it. You know, I'm just a girl. So, you really have no clue that you might be going to these teams when you get drafted?
No, absolutely not.
Not a hint of a clue.
I didn't think I was going to get drafted at all. So my college, they actually threw a draft party for me, which I had a lot of anxiety about because I didn't want to go there. And then I didn't get drafted and I just looked stupid. But I'm like, since they gracious enough to throw me a draft party, I went. And then I remember sitting there watching the draft, and it was like a Foxborough area code like called me. And I'm thinking it's like some like debt collector or something. You know, it's like the area code. So I almost started to not answer it. So I answered it. There was Nick Casario, the GM of the Patriots, and Bill Belichick. And
that's how they call it. It's like them.
Yeah, it's them. I remember like my heart was dropping like damn. Like it started beating. Felt like this is for real. So yeah, that was a real special moment.
How did it feel when you got that call? Like, were you like really nervous?
Yeah, I was nervous. Like I didn't know it was like. To be drafted, like that's a huge thing. Like I said, first in school history, so they helped me make history. And then I remember talking to Bill. He's like, welcome to the Patriots. We're gonna get you on a flight out here tomorrow. I'm like, this is really happening. I just graduated the day before, so I didn't even get to really process that. So I remember calling my parents, like tearing up, like I got drafted to the Patriots. So yeah, it was up from there.
And that's another thing, like because when you kind of are. There's some players that are sure they're going to get drafted. Like not, you're never really sure, but you're kind of sure.
Well,
right?
Some players are like solidified first round draft picks, but like guys like me, small school, like we don't really know.
So that's the thing. So because you don't really know, you didn't have your family there, or
no. I mean, my parents were in Minnesota, but they weren't at the draft party. It was actually back in my so I lived in the house with like 4 other roommates, so they was actually back in my home at the time. They was making like dinner or something like that. They like
so casual.
Yeah, they like to cook. My dad from the South, but he was cooking and stuff, so they wasn't at the actual draft party. It was like some of my teammates, some of my real good friends that was there.
But you got drafted at the draft party.
Yeah.
So what it was giving?
It's a video of that. So.
Yeah, so it's giving movie vibes.
It was
giving like
lit.
The movie vibes. Okay, I like that. Okay. So we're right back to like having no clue, no clue at all. Mm-hmm. And then also, was the Patriots doing good? Like I said, I'm not doing, but was the Patriots doing good at the time where you was like, oh wow, I got drafted to this team because they went to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, Patriots are a dynasty franchise. So they won their first Super Bowl. was it 2001? Then they went back to back in 03 and 04. And then the year I got there, my rookie year, that started the next dynasty. We won the 2014, and they won the 2016 and 2018. So it was already a winning franchise.
Right.
And prior to that, I had a workout with one of the D-line coaches there. So I think that's how I even ended up there. I had a real cool relationship with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we can assume that like when you realized you were going to the Patriots, you was like, oh, I'm in it.
Yeah.
Like I'm like this, and then win the Super Bowl. Then like in that same year.
Yeah, it happened.
Like,
it happened pretty fast.
Okay.
Like that whole year happened pretty fast.
Okay. All right. Let's move along. Let's move along. Okay. So we're gonna get back to ego and perseverance because I know there's more things that relate to it. But we're gonna go to our Bible nugget, and so the question for the Bible nugget is, what is your Bible nugget? What is an experience in the Bible that you relate to, or what is your favorite story in the Bible that you think about often?
So, favorite story, and this ties back to what we talked about what I went through legally in college. The Book of Job, Old Testament. That was like a story that I still resonate with. I can't remember it quite fully, but it's about Job, right? From how I remember it, it was basically like try to simplify it. There was a bet between the devil and the God to see if the devil can get Job to curse God's name. Right? So, he killed his kids, his cattle. He got him real sick. Like he did all this horrible stuff that Job went through, and he never once, cursed God's name. Even his wife was trying to, get him to curse God's name. Like, you see what he's doing to you while you still believe in it. So I had to keep that faith in everything that I went through. Right? I got kicked out of school. I wasn't in football. I had to do all this traveling back and forth. It was wearing on me mentally and physically. Then when I read that story and seen everything he went through, and he kept his faith, and in doing that, he got like 10 times back what he had lost before. So, like, if he can go through all that and persevere, right? We talk about perseverance. Then, what I'm going through isn't that bad. So that's still my favorite story.
Okay. Yeah. No, I get that. I definitely get that. Like, but people don't recognize it's like not only was he going through it like with like losing his family, he was going through it with his physicality, like it affected his health.
Yeah, he got real sick.
And so that's something that I actually want to ask about too, because I'm not sure, and this is something that I wonder about, like as far as like in professional sports, like the lifespan of careers. And so I know that like there's some sports that lifespans are longer, some sports, because it's so much physical, especially with like football. You hear a lot about like head injuries, things like that. And I feel like you are somebody that's been blessed to just like really come out on top of healthy and really help other people out. Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Like, how does your body feel now, and then like relating to your health and being a professional athlete and coming out of it?
Yeah, so correct. The average lifespan of NFL players, I believe 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. Yeah, it gets, because I've seen guys come in my year who didn't make it past year 1 or year 2.
Yeah. That is because of injuries?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So thankfully, I never had any injuries to the point where I needed surgery or anything. Like, well, I guess I did break my pinky, but that's neither here nor there. But I do have permanent spine damage, so I got neck arthritis, I got lumbar issues. So I didn't come out. I think we was talking off camera.
Yeah.
If you've been playing this game long enough, you don't come out unscathed. Some guys are worse than others, but as far as like how my body feeling after football, I still feel the effects of it. There's not a day goes by that I'm not in pain, but it's not as bad as it was if I was still, wrecking my body out there.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I was just telling my twin, also, my girl about like health stuff, and so we were talking about like herbs, and then like what is it? Is it Western medicine? Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, do you believe in like the natural way? I know you are really into health.
Yeah.
So like, what are your thoughts about like herbs versus
I don't keep over the counter medicine in my own.
Okay.
So in my opinion, there's nothing that tea, ginger, lemon, garlic, all that stuff can't fix. I use that for everything.
Excuse me. So you're more of like eat healthy today, like.
Yeah, so it was an old quote that says, let thy food be thy medicine be thy food. So my medicine is food.
I never heard that before.
Yep, Hippocrates, I think, said it.
Okay, so Producer has a question.
So you eat healthy all the time?
No, not all the time. I just had some insomnia cookies last night. I was actually trying to get the Cookie Society early today, but being out of Lake Dallas, it was just so far away. But I do try to be more on the side of eating whole foods first and then enjoying stuff like that later.
So you would say it's more of a...
I'll call it the 80-20 rule.
Okay.
Yeah, 80-20, because I'm a huge cookies and cream Oreo fiend, so you put that in front of me, it's gone.
This episode is to be continued. Thank you so much for tuning in to part 1 of Perseverance and Ego with our special guest, Zach Moore. Part 2 will be available next week, so keep an eye out or keep an ear out. Can't wait for you to hear from us. See you on part 2.